Thank you for joining us for another Mentors Moment where we like to talk to those effectively helping tomorrow's youth today. This month, we are going to be getting a teacher's take on patience. So this is my Auntie Retha, but Miss Franklin to you. All right. So, how long have you been teaching before we get started?
Officially for approximately 20 years, but like I said, I began teaching when I was like in fifth grade, and I was teaching the second graders at church.
Wow.
And then as I got older, the kids that I was teaching at church got older to where I finally, when I was in college, I was doing high school. And then after I got married and moved away, different jobs or what have you, I started subbing because we live in a small town, and I would ride the school bus
Right.
to work with my kids.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's really cool.
And work as a substitute, and then we relocated and moved back here, and that's when I officially got into teaching.
Okay. So her whole life, as you just saw. And just so you guys know, she is a math teacher, but not just any math teacher. She's an ESE math teacher for middle schoolers, right?
Middle schoolers, yes.
We getting into that. And which basically means that's special needs, all kinds of needs.
Predominantly EBD, which is kids who have emotional difficulties. I have 3 classes of that. Or they now call it, instead of EBD, they call it behavioral support.
Okay.
And then that's 3 periods a day. And then I have 3 periods that I do co-teaching with kids who just have specific learning disabilities.
Okay.
It's a co-taught, 2 teachers in the classroom to help kids adjust to being mainstreamed.
Okay. So are we talking on that one? So I know I would say autism, but does dyslexia count for that, or?
Dyslexia actually more than likely will be under a 504 plan, not necessarily because it's more of a medical
Okay.
diagnosis than a special education diagnosis.
Okay.
But you will find that a lot of children who have 504 plans have the same accommodations and testing accommodations as children who have special needs. And they'll be in a classroom that may have more than one teacher.
Okay. All right. So now to the real questions. Why did you choose to work with kids? Middle school kids. Bad kid. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, but kids.
It wasn't a choice. It was a set of circumstances. I was with high school. I started off teaching high school at a charter school. I left one charter school, went to another charter school that eventually was closed down. And the first interview I went to was at a middle school.
Okay.
Had no idea that I was going to get the job. Went to the interview, left the interview at about 1:45. At 1:10, I got a phone call back from the teacher.
Wow.
The principal saying, I'm going to get a big kick out of introducing Aretha Franklin to my staff. Welcome aboard.
I love it.
And so it was just like, okay, middle school it is. Let's see how this, what's going to happen with this. I had no idea I was going to end up staying. I was at that particular school for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So, and this one was actually given to me from a mom who asked me to ask, what are ways to redirect misbehavior, particularly if they have special needs?
The redirection depends on the child.
Okay.
And the particular needs of the child. Once you find something that works, through working with your school system, with your guidance counselor, with your social worker, there's a host of resources that you have as a parent at your school. And a lot of parents don't know to ask for it. Set up a program that you're doing at school and at home, because consistency is the key.
Ooh. Okay.
Because if mom has one set of expectations, and then the child gets to the school and there's another set of expectations, the child's confused.
Right.
Even if you don't have special needs, you can get confused.
Yeah.
So work with your teachers. I would love it if parents would work more with us.
Okay. I might just skip ahead to that question then. I do want to touch base on that. I do want to know, what are things you do daily to cultivate patience? Because I'm sure it must take patience. Pray.
But the thing is, someone told me a long time ago, and I've held fast to this: do not pray for patience, because if you pray for patience, you're going to get tried.
Yes.
Because it's to help build your patience.
Right.
I just pray sometimes, Lord, just get me through this class period.
Yep.
Just get me through to when that bell rings.
Counting down.
Counting down.
All right.
Because if I look at if it's 10:26 and I have until 3:25, if I look at it like that, I may not make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at, okay, class period down.
Right.
Next class period down.
Mm-hmm.
Next class period. Lunch. Hallelujah.
Regroup. Yeah.
Start again.
Okay.
Just small steps, small pockets.
Okay.
Don't try to do everything at once. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
If you burn the candle at both ends, it's going to burn out real fast.
Yeah. Okay. So I am putting pray and need it.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that. Okay, so what is something you have no patience or tolerance for, and what do you do when you're faced with it?
Adults that make excuses for their incompetence.
Ooh. This is a very blunt. Do you know what's funny? I did an interview last month, and somebody actually said the same thing, was like, don't make excuses for the kid. Yeah.
The thing is, I expect children to act like children.
Mm-hmm.
Children, my husband often says, especially with the grandkids, you're so childish.
Wow.
And it's because they are children. You know they're going to do certain things.
Right.
But when adults that should know better are doing stupid things and they're not owning up to it or trying to change, that's what I have no patience for.
I understand.
I can deal with a child being a child. I can't deal with an adult being a child.
Ooh. All right, to the heart. All right. How do you think your skills as a teacher translate to your skills as a mom and vice versa? Do you think they help each other out? As I did forget to mention on here that not only is she a teacher of 20 plus years, but she also raised 4 sons.
4 sons.
Yeah.
And now we have 4 sons, 4 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter.
Mm-hmm. And then even for childhood, you were the oldest out of...
Second oldest out of 9.
Second oldest out of 9. So, yeah, you Lord knows what he was doing.
At times it's very difficult to separate being a mom from being a grandma from being a teacher.
Yeah.
And at times I don't even try to separate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking through campus. Hey, grandma. Hey, grandma. I have 300, 400 plus grandchildren now.
Oh, wow.
Because one child started calling me grandma.
And then all
of a sudden, kids want grandparents.
Oh, man.
They want that love, the sternness. They want the discipline. They want the structure. So being a grandmother here at my house, or being granny as they call me, because I don't mind being called granny. Some grandmas freak out over it. I don't. Then I know what the kids want.
Right.
They don't want a friend. I don't have any friends under 30.
Yeah.
I don't need any friends under 30. I need to be that constant source of structure and discipline. And sometimes it's hard, especially with your own grandkids when they give you those puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
But I have a husband who is, you think I'm blunt and to the point. He is cutthroat.
Oh, I know.
Okay. But like I said, of course I can't spank the kids at school.
Right.
I can spank my grandkids if I need to.
Right.
I can spank my kids if I needed to. That's the only thing I can't do, but I can love on them. I talk crazy to them. I'm to the point,
See, I always wondered about that, and that's one of the things. Same thing with the karate instructors. Like, how do you control all these kids and you can't, how do you get them under your thumb without?
When I walk in, okay, so Prime example, substitute. They in there wilding out on the substitute.
Yes.
We've done this before. Da 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 da. No, I walk in the door. What in the world is going on here? Have you lost your man? And all of a sudden, that's Miss Franklin.
They're on that get right.
Sit down, shut your mouth. But we gifted. You're not acting gifted right now.
Wow.
So they expect that out of me. So if they're acting a fool and I come into the classroom, I don't come in quietly. I come in there, like I said, have you lost your mind? If you have, I'm going to help you find it.
Wow. So your presence, right?
And
commanding? Okay.
And it's because a lot of, they either have grandmothers at home that are strict, or they know of someone with grandmas or abuelas that are strict, and they know. I said, how many of y'all got a crazy grandma at home? Hands go up. I'm like, so I'm your crazy grandma at school.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that's so awesome. Okay.
So like I said, I have inherited.
Okay.
And one of the teachers, that's not your grandchild. Look, they can call me a lot worse than grandma.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them calling me grandma.
Okay. How important, and I know we touched on this a little bit before, but how important is parental involvement, and what do you do when there isn't any?
It is vital. And it takes the saying, it takes a village.
Yeah.
That village has to include a parent or a parental figure.
Right.
In the absence of a parent, you try to find a parental figure that child may connect to. A little side plug here. We have a group of 21 young men of color that have been identified at our school. We have no black male teachers on campus. None. We have a black para and 2 black custodians.
What's a para?
They assist in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
With behavior support kids.
Okay.
So I've taken it upon myself. We're having an Iron Sharpens Iron breakfast in February for Black History Month.
Oh, I love it.
To try to bring in some men of color.
Yes.
To be the parental male figure.
Right.
For these young men.
Plug away, because this comes out in February.
Right. And it goes back to something I saw on, God knows, I'm getting old, I'm almost 60, on television years ago. They had a group of young elephants. This is going to sound strange, but these young elephants were tearing up the place, just killing animals, tearing down trees. And what they realized was that there were no older bull elephants teaching the young bull elephants what to do. So they bought in like 3 bull elephants from other like parks or zoos or what have you. Those elephants came in there kicking butt and taking names, and got it straight.
Wow.
They needed bull elephants to teach bull elephants how to be bull elephants.
Wow.
We need men to teach our young men how to be men. There is no shortage of women in their lives.
Yeah.
No shortage of mamas, grandmamas, aunties. There's a shortage of men. So not only parental figures, but male figures for our young men. The young man who recently committed suicide after signing the football contract with Georgia Tech, who was bound to be in the pros, but was in such a dark place that he took his life. Where was the male figures that didn't just use him for his gifts and his talents?
Yeah.
Where were the male figures that could see into that child's soul and see that he needed help?
Yeah. Mentors.
So, we're doing the breakfast. It's the 25th of February from 8 to 10:30. You get a good breakfast on top of it. And it's about, like I said, about 21. I may add a few. Like one of the smartest young African American males on campus is one of the most challenging. Because the first time I met him, I wanted to take him out by his larynx because he was disrespectful, and I can't. That's the one thing I cannot deal with a child is disrespect.
Okay.
Stupid adults and disrespectful children.
Okay. And what do you count as disrespectful children? Just like cussing and things like that,
Well,
or
not even. They cuss. As long as you ain't cussing at me, okay. But I asked a simple question, and he's like snapped at me.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids are like, dude, just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept on. I don't know her. Okay. I'm going to step away from you right
Yes.
now. And then about a week went by, and he was sitting up in the front office. And I went and I sat beside him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, baby, do I know you? No, ma'am. I said, so why are you being disrespectful to me? Why did you disrespect me? Immediately,
Oh, wow.
the head went down.
Yeah.
So he knew how to be
Okay.
respectful.
Mm-hmm.
He was just showing out for his friends.
Mm-hmm.
This is a young man whose father is unfortunately incarcerated.
Mm.
If you know anything about the FSA scores, he's a level 5 in math, a level 4 in reading.
Wow.
He aced his algebra exam with doing no homework for 9 weeks.
Right.
This is a mind that we need to cultivate.
Yeah.
He needs strong men in his life because there's so much potential.
Yeah.
I met another young man with him, like him, about 7 or 8 years ago, who's in prison right now. Because as smart as he was, no one stepped up to the plate to mentor him and show him the right way.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps.
I know I'm all over the place.
No. This is, yeah. This is my aunt. My auntie Rita. All right. What is your greatest takeaway from teaching, and how has it improved your skill set?
One day at a time.
Okay.
And don't sweat the small stuff.
All right.
And skill set?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot of math.
I'm sorry. That's awesome.
I'm serious, because when I became a math teacher, I had not seen math since 1984, when I graduated from college. I had to pick up a geometry book and an algebra book and teach myself over a summer.
Wow.
To be able to teach students. Like stem and leaf. Had no idea what that was.
I don't know what that is.
It has to do with mean, median, mode, range,
Oh, okay.
statistical.
Yeah.
I had to teach that. I had to find out what it was and teach that to myself.
Right.
And then for a number of years, you just had to be certified in ESC or varied exceptionalities. You didn't have to be certified in a subject area. My certification carried me throughout whatever classes.
Right.
And then about 6 years ago, they came up with this mandate that said that you had to be certified in a subject area. Mm-hmm. So that meant I really had to learn math. Mm-hmm. And learning math helps your brain to be logical and to put things in order. And you'd be surprised. I tell my students, you use math every day. And I'm better at it because I'm using it in the classroom, and I'm using it like doing t-shirts. You have to be able to measure. You need to be so many inches from the neck. This has to be so wide, and this that. So yes.
Well, you know what? I did want to ask about that, because not only I guess math, but I kind of assumed that you would learn the ways to either identify how a person learns really quickly.
Well, yes, that's the part of the yes, no, understanding that you have visual learners, you have auditory learners, you have kinesthetic learners, you have some kids that come up with a weird combination of all of it. My oldest son, we had him tested. He's 95% auditory.
Well, he does the drums, so that makes sense.
Being 95% auditory is almost a disability within itself, because not a lot of teachers present things to that level.
Right.
He said when teachers use charts and colors and all, he says it looks like Mr. Crayola threw up.
Right.
None of that makes sense to me. I have to hear what you're saying and hear it and hear it and hear it. And a lot of our classrooms are not set up for that.
Right.
They're set up for saying it, bam, bam, let's move on. When you have students who need to hear it a gazillion times, that's just him outside. I need to see it. The kids will ask me a question. I say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, show me in the book what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could help them.
Okay. I got it. I think that you learning the math on your own probably gave you a huge edge though, because you could probably identify with what won't make sense to them.
Right,
If
and
had to guess.
I don't teach math from a math teacher's perspective. Like someone who's gone to college and they've got a degree in mathematics and they're very logical. I tell them I'm an ESE teacher who happens to teach math.
I love it. And there was one more thing I had to know was about math. So in middle school, no, this is the stereotype, right? Math is one of the hardest subjects you're going to learn. That's a stereotype of it off top. So a lot of kids, I would assume, I probably maybe even especially troubled, would come in with this like already, I'm going to say almost already fail, but already like math's hard. I don't want nothing to do with it. And I used to be that kid, myself, which is like, I'm not good at math. Mm-hmm. So how do you destigmatize it and make math interesting to where they want to learn?
Try to connect it to everyday life situations. Okay. There's some things you're not going to connect.
Right.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You are not going to use that again after you get out of high school. Unless when you're a parent and your child comes home and you don't want to send a note back saying, like your dad did, nobody in this class is smarter than, in this house is smarter than a fifth grader.
Oh, wow. You said that?
Mm-hmm.
For shame. I'm not gonna lie. We struggled with one of Jaden's assignments, and that was first grade.
That's the common core stuff.
That's common core
that the governor is pushing out.
Okay.
Yes. He's getting rid of it. It's not working. Common core basically came from what I understand, from Singapore. And what happens, if you have to understand, in certain countries, if you don't have the ability to do certain academic things, you don't stay in school that long. You actually start working in factories and things like that.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to a certain level, they have weeded out the kids who are struggling.
Right.
So the Common Core concepts work with kids who have the natural ability to do the higher order thinking questions. Mm-hmm. It does not deal with the kids who are struggling.
Oh man, that makes so much sense. Again, coming from a struggling student, because I looked at that and I'm like, what is this? And I had to text this teacher like, I don't know how to help him. Ooh, have you ever faced teachers burnout before? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Yes, I have. That's when my crafts and my outside things that I do come into play. I've gone from jewelry making to cake decorating. Now I'm doing t-shirts designs. Mm-hmm. Involving myself in things outside the classroom. And also getting to the point to where it is 3:50. My day as a teacher is over. Mm-hmm. I'm grandma, I'm ma, and I'm bae. I'm not Miss Franklin right now.
Got you.
So learning
boundaries.
Right. Learning when to turn it off. Especially baby teachers, they take that stuff home and they're like, I didn't pick up a book these 2 weeks. I'll go back to work tomorrow and I'll figure out what we're gonna do. Mm-hmm. But if you try to do everything, you are going to burn out.
Yeah.
But you have, as you get older, you understand how to set boundaries.
See, and that's when one of my concerns, actually starting the flip side mentorship, was how it would impact my kids, because I've got my job that pays the bills, this mentorship program that I'm trying to implement. Obviously, we volunteer for church, things like that, and then raise your kids. So I was always afraid that if I do this venture, what's going to drop on the back end. But what I'm hearing you say is if you prioritize your time correctly.
And try to include your children in the things that you're doing.
Okay. So.
Like, if you're going to a school event or what have you, take them with you. Our kids went everywhere with us. Yeah. We seldomly left our children anywhere. Mm-hmm. Because, the first one of the first, when we were living in Oklahoma, one of the first times we left our kids, your grandma was living with us for about 6 months. She watched the boys. Everybody that we saw asked, "Where are the boys? Are they sick?
Oh my goodness.
Where are the boys?"
Right.
Because our kids went with us everywhere we went. We were at church, they were at church. We were at choir rehearsal, they were at choir rehearsal. We were at band rehearsal, they were at band rehearsal.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
Our kids were with us. They weren't a sidebar.
Right. So that's good. Thank you for that. What advice would you give an adult that is losing all patience with a kid?
Step away from the situation.
Oh, I love it.
Realize you're dealing with a child. You're not dealing with an adult.
Yeah.
They're not thinking like an adult.
Yeah.
You can ask them to explain something to you, and you've seen the situation, and what they explain is something totally different because that's how they perceived it. Because their brains haven't developed. I mean, we got no throwing shade on guys, but their frontal lobes don't even develop completely until they're in their late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
So they're not making conscious, really, the best decisions. So how do you expect a 12-year-old boy to...
That makes sense. The last question, and my favorite question personally, what is the biggest lesson a child taught you?
And I'm not perfect and I make mistakes.
Yeah. A child will teach you that real quick.
Real quick. Miss, I think you did that wrong.
Yeah. Oh.
And automatically you want to snap back.
Yes.
But then you look at it and you're like,
I guess
you're right. Especially like once before I realized, I knew I needed glasses.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to admit that I needed glasses. And I didn't read the numbers right. And I did the math correctly, but I used the wrong numbers.
Gotcha.
I don't care how well you do the formula. If you're not using the right numbers, you're not going to come up with the right answer.
Right.
So having to step back, say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
Miss Franklin needs glasses.
I love that. I love that. I love that. All right. So first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. I think that a lot of people need to hear it. I needed to hear it on a lot of messages. Where can people find you, follow you, help you with your iron sharpens iron? Like, how do people support you?
Oh, this stupid email for school. I'll write it down. I'll give it to you and you can post it.
Okay.
Because this is long.
Okay, that's fair. Is it the email that I emailed you?
They can reach me there. Okay. That's my personal email, but I'll also give you my school email.
Okay. All right. So then I will put that up there. I guess that's everything. So I will see you guys next month.
Let me go.